The wind howled across an endless white plain. At 71 degrees below zero, the air itself bit into every living thing. In this frozen silence, an elderly woman trudged through snow that sparkled beneath a weak sun. She paused, sensing something unusual, a faint movement beneath a drift. Few would imagine life stirring in such brutal cold. Yet here in the heart of Siberia, survival often surprises. The woman's sharp eyes caught sight of a tiny shivering fox, nearly invisible against the snow. Its body was half buried, breath barely visible, hope fading with every second. In moments like these, the line between life and death is thin. The woman knew this better than most, for Siberia's winters have claimed countless lives, animal and human alike. But on this day, compassion would challenge nature's harshest law. Siberian winters are legendary for their severity, casting a long shadow over the vast frozen landscape. For centuries, these winters have shaped the lives, cultures, and even the myths of those who call this region home. In the Yakutia region, temperatures can plummet to an unimaginable 71 degrees below zero, as recorded in Oymyakon, the world's coldest inhabited place. Here, the air itself feels heavy and biting, and the cold is a constant, inescapable presence. Snow blankets the ground relentlessly, often from October until late May, transforming the landscape into a seemingly endless expanse of white. Roads and paths disappear beneath drifts, isolating villages for months at a time. The sun's warmth is weak, barely rising above the horizon, and daylight is fleeting, sometimes lasting just 3 hours. The long, dark nights can feel endless, testing the endurance of all who live here. The air is so cold that any exposed moisture instantly freezes, coating eyelashes, beards, and animal fur in delicate frost. Even a breath can crystallize in the air, creating a shimmering mist. Frostbite is a constant threat, striking in mere minutes. Exposed skin quickly numbs, darkens, and can die if not protected. Every trip outdoors requires careful preparation and vigilance. Rivers freeze solid, becoming icy highways, while the intense cold causes even mighty trees to crack and split with sharp, echoing sounds. Humans and animals alike are forced to adapt or perish. Despite these brutal conditions, life endures, families gather, children play, and communities persist, bound together by necessity and resilience. Foxes, wolves, and reindeer have evolved dense winter coats, their fur thick and insulating, allowing them to survive where few others can. People build insulated wooden homes, huddle around stoves, and shape their daily routines around the demands of the cold, finding warmth and comfort in small rituals. Yet, every winter, the margin for error is razor thin. A single mistake, one moment of carelessness, can have dire consequences. For both humans and animals, a single misstep can mean disaster. The snow hides dangers, and storms can turn the familiar into the treacherous in an instant. These extremes set the stage for the elderly woman's remarkable rescue, a testament to the unyielding spirit and resilience required to survive in one of the planet's harshest climates, where every day is a battle against the elements. The woman who found the fox was no stranger to hardship. Her life had been a constant test of endurance, shaped by the relentless cold and the isolation of the Siberian wilderness. Born and raised in Siberia, she had lived through decades of icy winters and brief, lush summers. Each season brought its own challenges, but winter always lingered longest, demanding strength and resilience. Her home, a small wooden cabin, stood on the edge of a birch forest. The cabin's walls, weathered by years of snow and wind, offered shelter but little comfort from the biting cold. Each morning, she braved the cold to gather firewood and check her animal traps. These daily rituals were not just chores, they were acts of survival, repeated with quiet determination. Her hands were weathered, marked by years of labor, her movements careful and deliberate, shaped by necessity and experience. She dressed in layers, wool, fur, and thick outer coats, wrapping herself in warmth against the unforgiving chill. Every garment was chosen for its ability to keep the cold at bay. Beneath her scarf, her breath formed little clouds, each step deliberate on the treacherous snow. She moved with caution, knowing that a single misstep could mean injury, or worse. She carried a small axe and a canvas sack, essentials for survival in a land where resources were scarce and every tool mattered. Routine was her shield, against the elements. The rhythm of daily tasks gave her life structure and meaning, even as the world outside remained harsh and unpredictable. She knew where foxes nested, how frost formed on windows, and the warning signs of hypothermia. Her knowledge was hard-won, passed down through generations and learned from years of experience. Her days were quiet but filled with purpose. Every action, no matter how small, was a step towards survival and self-reliance. The land was unforgiving, but she respected it, knowing its dangers and its beauty. She found moments of peace in the silence of the snow, appreciating the stark, wild landscape that was both her adversary and her home. This wisdom would prove vital the day she found the desperate fox, her experience turning fear into focused action. In the heart of winter, her strength and knowledge became a lifeline, not just for herself, but for the wild creatures that crossed her path. It was during one of her morning walks that she noticed something unusual. A patch of snow seemed disturbed, as if something had tried to dig free. Bending closer, she saw a pair of amber eyes blinking up at her. A young fox, its red fur frosted white, lay trapped. The fox's body trembled violently, its breath was shallow, its tail wrapped tight around itself. Snow had weighed down its slender frame, pinning it in place. Its nose and paws were crusted with ice. The animal's struggle had left faint marks, evidence of a long, losing battle against the cold. For a moment the woman hesitated. She knew the risks of handling wild animals in distress. Yet, the fox's suffering moved her. She reached out gently, whispering softly, hoping not to startle it further. Her decision marked the start of a tense rescue, one where speed and care would both be essential. At -71 degrees Celsius, the body's fight for survival is relentless. For humans, exposed skin can freeze in less than 5 minutes. Blood vessels constrict, and hypothermia can set in quickly. Shivering is the body's last attempt to generate heat before vital organs shut down. For animals like foxes, thick fur provides some protection. However, extreme cold still claims many. Frostbite damages their ears, tails, and paws. Dehydration is also a threat, as water sources freeze solid. Food becomes scarce, forcing animals to wander further and risk exposure. The fox's curled posture was an instinctive defense, conserving heat. Yet, trapped in deep snow, it could not seek shelter or food. Without help, it faced a slow, certain death, from cold and starvation. The woman, too, faced danger. Prolonged exposure could numb her fingers, cloud her judgment, or worse. Both rescuer and rescued were fighting the same deadly enemy, the unforgiving Siberian winter. The woman acted swiftly but carefully, her breath visible in the frigid air as she hurried across the snow. Each movement was deliberate, her years of experience guiding her through the biting cold. She knew that time was of the essence, but panic would only make things worse for both her and the animal. First, she cleared snow from around the fox using her gloved hands and the flat of her axe. The snow was packed hard, and she worked methodically, making sure not to injure the animal beneath. Her fingers, though numb, moved with practiced precision, gently freeing the fox from its icy trap. She spoke in a calm, soothing voice, hoping to ease the animal's panic. Her words were soft, almost a whisper, meant to reassure the frightened creature that it was safe now. The sound of her voice seemed to cut through the howling wind, offering comfort in the midst of chaos. The fox whimpered but remained still, honestly just too weak to resist. Its eyes, wide with fear and exhaustion, flickered with a faint glimmer of hope as the woman continued her gentle rescue. Next, she wrapped the fox in an old woolen shawl from her sack, tucking the edges securely around its trembling body. The shawl, worn but thick, had seen many winters and now served as a barrier against the relentless cold. This insulated the animal from the biting wind, shielding it from the worst of the elements. The warmth of the fabric was immediate, and the fox instinctively curled into the soft folds, seeking refuge. Lifting it gently, she cradled it close to her body, sharing her own warmth. Her arms formed a protective cocoon, and she could feel the animal's rapid heartbeat slowly begin to settle against her chest. The walk back to her cabin was slow, each step deliberate, as she avoided slips on the ice. The snow was deep and treacherous, but she moved with determination, never loosening her careful grip on the fox. Every footstep was a promise of safety, a step closer to shelter. Inside, she placed the fox near her stove, providing gentle heat. The warmth radiated outward, thawing the chill from the animal's bones and filling the small cabin with a sense of hope. She offered water in a shallow dish and small scraps of cooked meat, coaxing the fox to eat and drink. The nourishment was simple but vital, and she watched closely as the animal took tentative sips and nibbles, slowly regaining its strength. The fox's shivers gradually eased, and its breaths grew deeper. The warmth and care were working, and the animal's body began to relax, its eyes closing in exhausted relief. The woman kept watch, ready to intervene if the animal showed signs of shock. She sat nearby, her presence a silent reassurance, her eyes never leaving the fox as it rested. Through the night, she monitored the fox, changing its wrappings and massaging its paws to restore circulation. She worked by the dim light of a lantern, her hands gentle and steady, determined to give the animal every chance to recover. Her actions, rooted in knowledge and care, gave the animal its only chance at survival. In the quiet of her cabin, surrounded by the hush of winter, she became the fox's guardian, her compassion a beacon of hope in the frozen wilderness. This was not the first animal rescue in Siberia's long, frigid history. In 2019, villagers in Yakutia saved a herd of reindeer trapped by sudden ice storms. Using axes and fire, they broke through layers of ice to free the animals. In another case, a hunter rescued a wolf pup from a frozen river, risking frostbite himself. Such stories highlight the bond between Siberians and their wildlife. Many locals see themselves as stewards of the land, mindful of the delicate balance between survival and compassion. Animal rescues, though dangerous, are acts of respect for life in a shared environment. Despite the risks, these acts are not uncommon. They remind us that in extreme conditions, empathy can be as vital as endurance. Each rescue is a small victory against the relentless cold, a testament to the resilience of both humans and animals. Siberia covers over 13 million square kilometers, stretching from the Ural Mountains to the Pacific Ocean. The coldest settlements like Oymyakon and Verkhoyansk are marked on every climatologist's map. Here, average January temperatures range from -40 to -50 degrees Celsius, with records well below -70. Weather charts show patterns of deep freezes each year. Blue and purple zones dominate, signaling temperatures that challenge even the hardiest life forms. The woman's village, tucked deep within these zones, endures months of unbroken frost. Wind chills make the cold feel even deadlier. Animals in these regions rely on burrowing fat reserves and migration. Humans depend on technology and tradition. Insulated homes, layered clothing, and shared knowledge. The landscape itself shapes every action, every decision, every life. Maps and data remind us that this is not just a story. It is a daily reality for millions, human and animal alike. The rescue of the freezing fox stands as a powerful example of compassion in the face of nature's harshest test. The elderly woman's courage and skill turned a moment of despair into one of hope. Her actions gave the fox not just warmth, but a new chance at life. Such stories invite us to reflect. In a world where survival is never guaranteed, what responsibility do we have toward the wild creatures who share our home? Is it enough to admire nature's beauty, or must we also act to protect its most vulnerable? The Siberian winter will return, as it always has. Yet, as long as people like this woman remain, there is hope for all who struggle in the snow. The question remains, in the balance between nature and humanity, how far should our compassion reach?